Have you ever walked into your child's home and felt like you didn't belong, not because they said it but because of the silence? The glances at their phones, the hurried conversations. You used to be the center of their world. Now, you're just there, present, but not seen. That shift is one of the most painful parts of aging and no one prepares you for it. You raised them with love. You gave up sleep, dreams, even parts of yourself. For years, and you didn't do it for recognition. You did it because that's what love looks like when it's real. But now, in your older years, it hits you. You're no longer needed the way you once were. Worse, sometimes it feels like you're not needed at all. Here's the truth we don't talk about enough. In this fast-paced world, aging parents often become background noise in their children's lives. Not out of cruelty but because our culture doesn't teach respect for aging, it teaches efficiency. And in a world obsessed with speed, your slower pace feels inconvenient, your wisdom goes unheard. But let me ask you this, should a lifetime of sacrifice end with being treated like a burden? You are not a burden. You are a story, a legacy, a pillar of strength. And that truth matters even if others forget it. Have you ever left your children's home feeling smaller than when you arrived? You come with memories, wisdom, even just a hope for connection, but what greets you is a half-hearted smile, eyes glued to phones, and minds racing through to-do lists. You speak slowly, thoughtfully, but the world around you is moving too fast to hear. Here's the quiet heartbreak no one wants to say out loud. Your presence, once cherished, now feels like it's interrupting their flow. But it's not because they don't love you. It's because modern life teaches them that to move forward, they must cut away anything that slows them down. And in their eyes, your needs, your pace, even your stories don't fit. You leave not with warmth but with a quiet ache. You don't feel seen. You don't feel heard. You feel tolerated. And I want to ask you something. How many more times will you show up just to be overlooked? The truth is, our society celebrates speed, youth, and productivity but forgets the value of wisdom, patience, and presence. You carry a lifetime of lived experience, and it's painful when that's ignored. But your worth is not measured by how fast you speak or how useful you seem. You are not a relic of the past, you are a living archive. And you still matter. Let me ask you something deeply personal. How many times have you walked into your child's home, silently hoping to hear, "You did a great job, Mom," or "Thank you, Dad, for everything"? And how many times did that moment never come? I've met countless parents who walked through that door carrying decades of sacrifice, love, and quiet endurance, hoping for a nod of gratitude, a warm word, a real hug. But instead, they leave with heavy hearts and the painful silence of being overlooked. Here's a truth no one likes to say out loud. If you keep placing your self-worth in the hands of those who don't see it, you will break. You will shrink inside, even though you were once the one who held everything together. You raised them. You taught them how to walk, how to speak, how to be strong. But now it's your turn to walk with strength, not toward their approval, but toward your own peace. Visit your children only when you are already whole. Not when you're seeking emotional crumbs. Not when you're desperate to be told you matter. Your worth isn't up for debate. It's already written in the sleepless nights, the sacrifices, the love you gave unconditionally. And it takes unbelievable strength to stop chasing validation, especially from the very people you gave your life to. But it's the kind of strength that sets you free. Let's talk about something most people won't say out loud. In old age, the deepest wounds often don't come from illness. They come from disappointment. Not from aching joints, but from aching hearts. So many older parents carry this silent expectation that the years of sacrifice, love, and sleepless nights would eventually circle back. That their children would return not just with visits, but with gratitude, with presence, with warmth, but instead, many are met with silence. Or worse, tolerance. They're not welcomed. They're simply put up with. And here's the truth I need you to hear, even if it stings a little. You were never meant to be tolerated. Not after all you've done. Not after the life you poured into raising another human being. If the only space you're given in someone's life is a corner of convenience, step back, withdraw not with anger, but with quiet strength. And don't go back, not until respect is mutual. Because your peace matters too. You've earned the right to be around people who want you there. Not those who make you feel like a burden. So ask yourself, are you staying somewhere just to be seen? Or are you choosing to be where you're truly valued? Let me ask you something hard, but honest. What hurts more, being alone, or being with people who make you feel invisible? For many older adults, it's not the quiet of an empty room that breaks their spirit. It's the quiet dismissal in a crowded one. Disrespect doesn't just sting, it erodes you from the inside. It chips away at your identity, at the years you gave to others, at the purpose you once lived for. Still, many elders return to those who belittle or ignore them, hoping that maybe this time, things will be different. That maybe, this time, they'll be seen, heard, valued. But each visit becomes a painful reminder that they're being slowly shelved, filed away like an old book no one opens anymore. Here's the truth you may need to hear today. Your time is sacred. Your dignity is not up for negotiation. Stop showing up in spaces where your worth is forgotten. Stop making excuses for people who don't make space for your voice. You are not a footnote in someone else's life story. You are the author of your own. Choose places and people who still recognize your light. Because the moment you stop accepting disrespect, you begin reclaiming your power. Here's something we don't say enough. Just because your children have grown and moved on doesn't mean your story is over. In fact, it might be just beginning on your terms. Many people spend their later years clinging to old roles, hoping their children will notice, appreciate, or finally say thank you. But what if the peace you're looking for doesn't come from them? What if it's waiting for you outside their shadow? It's time to rebuild your life beyond family. Start by creating a rhythm that brings you joy: morning walks, volunteering, reading groups, gardening, anything that reconnects you with life. Join a community that sees your age not as a burden, but as a badge of wisdom. Find people who want your presence not out of duty, but out of true care. Because you deserve to be chosen, not tolerated. And most importantly, stop chasing your children's approval. You are no longer the parent pleading for recognition. You are the elder, graceful, grounded, and worthy of respect just by being. When you reclaim your space in the world, something powerful happens. You stop waiting and start living. There comes a time in life when you realize true strength doesn't need to shout. It doesn't chase approval, nor beg for a seat at the table. In your later years, real dignity is found not in what you say, but in how you carry yourself. Speak less, observe more. Let your silence speak volumes. When you stop explaining yourself to those who stopped listening long ago, you reclaim your power. Many older adults live their final chapter trying to hold on to roles that no longer serve them, hoping, waiting, pleading. But aging doesn't have to mean shrinking. It can mean rising. Living with strength means showing up for yourself, even when no one else does. And if one day, your children come back not out of guilt, but out of true care, then welcome them. Not with emotional dependence, not with old expectations, but with quiet grace. Because you have built a life that stands strong, with or without anyone's validation. Remember this: you are the root, not the branch, the foundation, not the decoration. Your worth isn't seasonal, it's the soil that gave everything life. So live the rest of your days not in quiet desperation, but in steady power. You've earned that. There comes a moment when silence becomes louder than words and walking away speaks more powerfully than staying. If your children can't see your worth today, let life and time teach them. Because your value doesn't vanish when it's ignored. It simply waits to be recognized by eyes ready to see. Too many elders stay in spaces where they're barely tolerated, hoping, enduring, shrinking. But here's the truth: you do not belong in places where your presence feels like a burden. You deserve more than polite nods and distracted glances. Walking away doesn't mean bitterness, it means choosing peace. It's saying, I may not be celebrated here, but I will not be diminished. You are not weak. You are not used up. You are the product of storms weathered, lessons earned, and decades lived with purpose. That's not something to hide, it's something to honor. So if respect is absent, let go gracefully, but firmly. Because letting go isn't giving up, it's growing up. It's reclaiming the quiet power that comes from knowing your worth and refusing to let anyone define it for you. You've given enough. Now it's time to stand tall, for yourself. Let me say this clearly: don't visit your children or anyone if doing so costs you your dignity. You were not born to beg for affection, or to sit quietly in a corner while your soul goes unseen. Visit only when you are truly welcomed, not just as someone who raised them, but as a person with stories, depth, and light. You deserve to be embraced, not tolerated. You deserve eye contact, not empty glances over phones. And if that kind of respect isn't there, pause, reflect, and choose peace over pain. Because life still holds beauty, plant that small garden you've been putting off. Start that book, make a new friend, dance in your living room. Celebrate with people who laugh with you, not just tolerate your presence. And above all, remember this, you were never the problem. You were the gift, the giver, the foundation. The steady flame in so many storms. So share this message with a parent who needs to hear it, with a child who might have forgotten, or even with yourself. You matter, you always have. And if this message touched you, subscribe to this channel. Because your journey deserves to be honored, and here, we'll walk that path together.